Hello everyone, welcome to another session with me, Varun on Tech Tablets. And in this video, we would be discussing about the fifth part of the interview question and answer series from machine learning. And this video is ideally optimum for all those of you who have probably just begun data science or are trying to justify an experience of 1 to 2 years. So without any further delay, let us quickly go ahead and understand what we have. So the agenda would be to take a look at the interview series of machine learning. And this is me, Varun. I work on R, Python, and TensorFlow. Currently, Keras or TensorFlow 2.0. And I started working with SAP ABAP, moved on to UI5, then was a YouTuber or am a YouTuber for a while, then followed my passion, which is rap. I somehow have a huge passion towards rap. And if you've not checked out my channel, then I think you should check out my channel, Hyderabadi Chora. And I also work as a data science trainer and a developer. So the goal is to make some question answers easy, which are pretty famous and pretty asked, and we know an answer to it, but it becomes a bit challenging for us to articulate and put them forward. So these videos are for people like me or for people like us who face challenges in an interview. So the first question is polynomial regression a linear or a non-linear model? Well, this is a very tricky question asked by a lot. This completely depends on what you're referring to, right? Which means that it depends on your problem statement. That is, PR is okay, PR is polynomial regression. We all know that when we refer to polynomial regression, right, this is how it generally looks like, right? And this is raised. This is linear regression raised to exponential power. So polynomial regression is a nonlinear function of input x. That is how we can also refer to polynomial regression as a nonlinear model. But it would be inappropriate to use if your data is nonlinearly distributed, okay? Which means that you cannot fit a straight line if this is how, probably your data is between x and y, all right? So this is an understanding of polynomial linear regression or polynomial regression, right? Now, the next one, oops, I think I've missed second and third. Let's check. Okay, I don't see. I think I've missed second and third. So we'll skip to the fourth question for this video. That is, what is the advantage and drawback of random forest as compared to decision trees? Firstly, it is very important to understand that every algorithm that we have has come up because there is some disadvantage with the older one. It could be logistic to decision, decision to random forest to KNN or SVM or any of these. Now, the advantage that random forest has over decision trees is random forest can give you a better predictive power than decision trees, but your interpretability, that is the understanding, take would take a huge loss, because it's impossible, or rather it's senseless, to draw so many decision trees, calling it a random forest. So that is the reason why decision trees are beautifully understood while random forests are not. How would you know how many trees to use? Well, this is completely a trial and error method. Okay, there is no standard number that is associated, and here it is also to be noted that it takes lesser time to figure out the best value by tweaking and tuning your model. That is, by changing the parameters, also called as hyperparameter tuning. You can probably play around with your parameters and check which of these would be apt for you. And also, that's what is done in general when you're trying to build a machine learning model, wherein you change the values, you experiment for different test value, train value, you change the number of trees, you change the minimum depth, you play around with the features, and then you see which of these is giving you the best result, and then you probably come out, or you come to a conclusion. This is how decision trees work. The next one is, what are high and low bias and variance in machine learning? Now, this is a very frequently asked question because it's very confusing. So let's understand this a bit carefully. Now, when we talk of bias here, right, low bias, okay, if we have low bias, it means that the predictions are very close to real values, which means that higher or better predictions. All right. High bias, if you have, then it means that you have lower predictions, which means that your predictions are not good. Now, low variance is when you're, when you run your model several times and in different predictions, you notice that your observations don't vary much. That is, there is no huge variation. Like variance can actually be understood in literal sense. Likewise, when we talk of high variance, it is when you run your model several times, the different predictions, they completely vary. Okay. Now, generally, when we have a low bias, we have high variance, and when we have a low variance, we have high bias. So they generally keep, varying, and we as machine learning experts should try to strike the right balance between bias and variance when you're working on any machine learning algorithm. Okay. Now, the next one is we understand that in order to evaluate multiple linear regression, we can use adjusted R squared or Pearson matrix. But how can I evaluate polynomial regression models or random forest models which are not linear? Now, this is a practical question that you're able to see. So here we have a parameter which is called as MSE. MSE is mean squared error. We also have something called as RMSE, that is root mean squared error. All right. Now these values or this value would actually give us the squared difference between the predicted and actual, right? And this is called as error or residual, which is the reason why this is mean squared error, right? Now, when we talk of polynomial regression or probably random forest, we don't apply backward elimination because these models, they don't have coefficients combined like how it happens in linear regression, right? Hence, we don't find p values, which is the answer. So in short, MSE would be the best way to understand for any regression model in that case. I mean, MSE for regression and accuracy for, if it's a classification model. So this is an understanding. Is logistic regression a linear or a non-linear model? Well, it is a linear model. It is, the separator is a straight line, just that it is used for classification. Again, don't get carried away by the name here. When we talk of linear regression, right, this is how linear regression is. But a derivative of linear regression is how logistic also comes into picture, right? We just, kind of reverse the equation of linear and we put it here, that is mx plus c, and this in turn comes out to be a sigmoid curve wherein we have a threshold value and anything below is 0 or and above is 1. So this is how this algorithm or this classification model works. So please do not get confused. The next one, oops, yeah. The next one that I have is, can logistic regression be used for many independent variables as well? Absolutely. But then when we talk about this, visualization becomes a bit difficult when you're trying to work on something which is more than 3D. So this can be a challenge that you may have to face. But otherwise, you're open to work on any variant. And this is also called as multiple logistic regression. We have simple and we have multiple. So yeah. The last one, what are the logistic regression assumptions? Now, when you're working on logistic, you should know that it is a binary variant. That is, it has 0 or 1, profit and loss, alive or dead, okay, good or bad. It is as simple as that, okay? Logistic regression, it requires the observations to be independent of each other. There shouldn't be a very high correlation. They should be independent of each other as possible. And also there should be little or no multicollinearity. The fourth and the most important thing is it assumes linearity of independent variables, right? If they're not linear, then you may have a problem. And the log of odds, although this analysis does not require the independent and dependent to be related linearly, it requires the independent variables to be linearly related to log of odds. Now, again, this is a very confusing statement. Let us please understand this once again. A lot of times we tend to say that the independent variables should be linearly dependent, but The important factor here is the independent variable should be linearly dependent to the log of odds. All right. And if this condition is satisfied, then I don't think we will be having a problem to work on logistic regression. Right. So these are the questions that I have for you in this video. In the next video, we will be talking about another algorithm in depth, and we will try to ensure that we get a bit more comfortable in the interviews that we would be attending. Right now, if you have any queries, or if you're planning to take up a full interview course on on technical interviews, then please feel free to reach out to me on this account, that is Hyderabadi Chora on Instagram, or varunrao_Germany at yahoo.com if you would want to write down a mail to me. And I would be more than glad to probably assist you in your journeys. And even if you have any queries, it is the same point that you have to, get to me, and I would be, as I said, more than glad to help you, or to probably, be a part of your journey. Thank you very much, and all the very best for whatever is the interview that you're about to prepare. And yeah, do share if you feel this video is of any value.